How many could feel the difference in the tempo just in your own body and voice, right? So if you see somebody who's standing like this, let's put the camera up, and they're depressed. What's their body like? Instead of me showing you, what's a depressed person's body like? So I want you to see your body affects your state. Where's the shoulders in a depressed person, guys? Where? Show me. Down. Where's their head? Down. Are they breathing full or shallow? Shallow. Are they talking quiet or a little louder? Which one? If they're depressed, it's lower, right? Now, how do you know this? Because you've practiced this shit before, haven't you? We all have, right? But if you take somebody who's depressed and you get them to stand up, shoulders back, move their body, breathe, use their voice with intensity and tempo, their entire biochemistry changes 10 times faster than just standing there with your, hands on your hips. In other words, you can train yourself to change your state. The other way you can do it is change what you focus on. Because write this down, focus equals feeling. Whatever you focus on, you're gonna feel, whether you like it or not, you're gonna feel it, it's gonna affect you. If you focus on, you're supposed to meet your husband or wife at 7 p.m. at the restaurant, you get there at 7, they're not there, some people get pissed. It's only 7. Some people get worried. But what if you've been there since 7 and it's 7:30, they've not called, they've not texted, they've not shown up? Then what? Some people say, I'm really pissed off. Some people say, I'm really worried. They have the same event, but they didn't have the same experience because of what they did with their state. The person who's pissed off goes, they did it again. They always show up late. They don't care. They're probably screwing around with somebody else. Well, if you imagine that, you're going to be angry and hurt. The person who's worried, what did they do with their focus? Like, oh my God, what if they're in a car accident? And so whatever you focus on, you feel, even if it's not true. And when the person shows up finally, guess what? If you're really angry, you're going to treat them the way it makes them never want to show up. If you're really worried, you're going to treat them different. Our experience of life is controlled by the way we use our body and our focus. So if you want to have a breakthrough, let's change the sequence. The way you get a breakthrough, like people go, I don't know what to do. You're never going to do in this low energy state. So the first thing, change your body, right? Try it right now. Stand up if you would, please. Stand up, shake your body out. Shake it out, shake it out. Nice and strong. And I want you to make a strong move, a move that makes you feel strong. Any move, go like, yes. Make a move, yes, or yes. Do something that gives you that kind of energy. This is not a good move like this, like I'm showing you now. If you have breasts, I wouldn't do this one. I do something different. You get the idea, right? So now, right now in your body, I want you to make the sound of unstoppable intensity as loud as you can. Go, unstoppable intensity.
Everything in my world is based on coming up with the outcome that will serve and then going at it. But most of the time, your approach going at it doesn't work. No one else knows that, but you can see it doesn't work. So it's constantly changing your approach until you can get where you want to go. When I enter an audience and I'm going to give a talk of any sort, I do a huge amount of homework in advance. I prepare, I see who's there. But then when I stand up here, I wouldn't be sitting like this. I'm scanning constantly. And who I'm looking for, the people think it's bullshit. I'm going after the people who got dragged there. I'm not looking for the people clapping for me. Those people will always be there, and there's some people who clap even if you're terrible, so you don't want to let other people's view make you feel good. I'm looking for who isn't there so that I can reach them, so I can show them that there's something real here. Because, most people don't know who I am. They'd see 10,000 people jumping in a stadium and they go, oh, it's just a big motivational pump up. I've never been a motivator. It's never been what I've been about. I think motivation is useful. It's like a warm bath. You should probably take a bath or a shower every day, but you need more than that. You need strategy. But what I really believe is energy. Most of us grew up, and right now, most of you are learning in the traditional style you did even when you were in school. You were trained to go to your seat and be silent and be polite and nice. But the world we live in today isn't like that. The world today, if somebody sits down and waits for someone to tell them what to do, they're in trouble. So my approach is constantly stimulating and seeing what's real, getting people to be raw, and getting to truth. As corny as it is, the truth sets us free, and we all can find our own truth as long as we put ourselves in an environment where we don't tolerate anything less than that. I have chosen very consciously what I want for my life, and I continue to choose. I really believe that our Creator has given us choice, and those that look at their life and say it's not the way they want it and blame God are barking up the wrong tree. The resources are inside of us. That's number one. But I'd say number two, this idea that rationalizing choice. I don't rationalize choice. I know it's one of the great gifts in my life, and I can make it any moment. So can you. The one power we have is the decision to change anything. You don't like your relationship, change it. Change you first, or change it. Right. You don't like your body, change it. You don't like your finances, any one of us can change it. We live in a world that's filled with answers. You got a web where you can learn from anybody on the planet now. You got access to them, you know. So I don't see it as like rationalizing choice. I think that mindset reveals limitations of the person asking the question. I'm not being derogatory to that person. Sure. I'm grateful for the question, but I want you to know, if you're listening, that, you know, if I asked all those watching, we all have patterns, and I'm a student of patterns. The way I can make changes in minutes for people that were stuck for years, or athletes I've turned around and developed a great amount of fame around, and, you know, the Quincy Joneses of the world, the Pit Bulls, the Serena Williams, the things that I've done with all these people they rave about are because I know that whatever you focus on, you're gonna feel. So I'll just give you one example for the person who asked this question, and for anybody listening.
Yeah.
I'll give you 3 patterns real fast so you can check yourself out for a moment. So one pattern is of focus. Do you tend to focus more on what you have or what's missing? I'm asking your listeners right now, and you, what do you tend to focus on? What you have or what's missing?
What I have.
What you have, great. When I ask this in a room, usually about 70% are focused on what's missing. Most achievers are focused on what's missing so they can go out and achieve more, right?
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. But when you stack these patterns together, it's really hard to be happy when you're constantly focused on what's missing. There's a time what's missing, so you go to work, but if you do it all the time, you can be achieving a ton, like some of these billionaires, and they're still noticing what's missing, and so they're not happy. Another pattern would be, do you tend to focus on what you can control or what you can't control?
We can.
Yeah, and I know that's true with you. The majority of people is what they can't control. Now, if you focus on what's missing all the time and what you can't control, you're gonna be depressed. I don't care if you take Prozac or Zoloft or anything else. Your depression is not a Zoloft deficiency. It is the fact that you are doing something in your mind that is producing that depression. And if you constantly focus on what's missing and what you can't control, and let's add a third one, you tend to focus more on things in the past, the present, or the future. I know you do all 3, we all do all 3, but which one for you would you say you spend more of your time on, past, present, or future?
Well, my old self would say the past and the future.
Mm-hmm.
Now, after going through One World Academy, I'm very present and future.
Well, there's no right or wrong, but the past, you can't do anything about it. So the more you focus there, unless you're learning something from it, it's pretty much a waste. The present is where the joy is. The future is how you do business, right? So you anticipate. So it's the ability to do this. But if you have someone whose pattern is focus on what's missing, focus on what I can't control, focus on the past, you can give them, I've seen it. I've dealt with people like that who are suicidal. I come in, they got every drug, they're taking every antidepressant, and they're still depressed. In fact, I'll ask in audiences all the time, how many of you know somebody who takes antidepressants and still depressed? 90% of the room will raise their hand.
I know people.
You know people? I'm sure the people at home do. Well, why are they still depressed if they're taking antidepressant? Because all antidepressant does is numb you, but they're still focusing what's missing. They're still focused on what they can't control. They're still focused on past or present that's not the way they want it to be, or making up a future that's scary. Well, you're going to be depressed no matter what unless you take control of those factors. So the answer to his question is, I don't see it as a rationale. I see it as a gift. Choice is a gift. It's always there. You can choose what you focus on, and what you focus on is what you're going to experience. You can focus on things that make you suffer. You can focus on things that make you grateful. And of the two, gratitude is the better approach. It's not some mamby-pamby positive thinking approach. It's intelligent, because when you're in a good state, you can solve the problem 10 times better. I used to convince myself that if I'm suffering, if I'm pissed, I'm 10 times smarter, my brain goes faster, and it does. You know what I also found? I'm 10 times smarter when I'm not stressed, and I also enjoy my life.
You might have a great mindset, positive thinking, but if you have a heart set full of anger, if your emotional life is sad, if you're disappointed from the past, if you haven't done the sweat lodges and the journaling and the body work and the affirmations to really open up a heart set, then you can have the mindset of an Elon Musk. You can have the mindset of a Steve Jobs. You can have a mindset of a Kobe. But you're going to sabotage yourself from world class. And to me, this is the great myth of positive thinking. You see a lot of people, they read all the books, they're positive thinkers, they've got the vision boards, nothing changes. Why? Because subconsciously, there's this wounding and a lack of deservability, and it's unconscious. And so they haven't done the work, or you may have not done the work to make the wounds of undeservability and scarcity and the low self-worth. That's why positive thinking alone does not work. This is, to me, a revolutionary insight. And by the way, a lot of the people who teach positive thinking in the past are men. So it's very male mind. And a lot of the people who are pioneers of heart set are women. Heart, empathy, healing. And so self-mastery to me, and this is a pioneering model that I teach at Personal Mastery Academy, it's not just mindset. That's only 25% of self-mastery. And as you know, self-mastery is the DNA of outer mastery. You're never going to perform higher than what's going on within. Mindset is only 25%. Heart set, your emotional life, working from confidence and love and service, and that sense of internal freedom is only another 25%. So those two are only 50%. There's a third interior empire you want to get to world class, which is health set. Working on your energy, your nutrition, your daily exercise, hacking your longevity, eating the right supplements, getting a massage every 2 weeks. You know my 2 massage protocol. Doing your 60-minute nature walk every week so that your health set is at world class, but that's only 75% of the equation towards self-mastery. You can have a great mindset, great heart set, great health set, but if you haven't worked on your soul set, turning down your ego, you know what disease and what energy depletion is caused by your ego beating you relentlessly about you not being enough and seeing your industry peers succeeding and you feel insecure and irritated and angry and jealous? Well, where do you do that work? Within your soul set, the fourth interior empire. And as you do that, you turn down the ego and you open up your humanity and you open up your spiritual life and you become more soulful. And then you release work that is artistry versus just to win in the next few months. And you literally give your life over to a mighty mission that is larger than your ego. And you literally start to see your work as a ministry for the benefit of humanity. And if you're an artist or an entrepreneur or CEO, manager, or coder, a doctor, a firefighter, but literally, if you saw your work as your poetry and your artistry, and you were on a mighty mission that was larger than even your ego and yourself, what would the caliber of your output be?
I get it done, even if I'm just going through the motions. I go through the motions. I don't really want to work out. I work out. I really don't want to hammer on a project. I hammer on the project. Don't really want to get up and get out of bed.
More encouraging for people, I think, to concentrate on who they could be rather than who they are, especially when they're young, because they still have most of their life ahead of them and they're not everything they could be yet.
Now, I'm no guru, and I definitely don't claim to be. I'm just a man. But I will tell you this, it isn't one thing. And it isn't 10 things, and it isn't 100 things. It isn't a quick path, and there are no shortcuts.
What you're supposed to do that pleasures God. That it keeps you young. You have the energy of a 20-year-old. That allows you to be
But I mean,
a
there's going to
channel.
be a time when you and I are not live in these bodies